What's up, guys? It is April 1st today, so happy April Fools. The weather here in Boston was a total joke. It was snowing out for most of the day, so that was kind of a. Anyways, I installed the Seasons mod, the latest one from GitHub. Um, it's not released yet because they're still developing it, but if you go to GitHub, that's usually where a lot of the people who generate the scripts, like Soil Mod and Courseplay and Seasons and Drive Control and Glance, and they always upload their work on GitHub and then before releasing it. So it's a pretty cool. Since they, I don't know, probably 3 months ago when they started work. No, they started working on it like I'm not even sure anymore. They've been working on it for a couple months, and now it's I believe it's multiplayer compatible, and it also works with your save game. So our silage here is at 17%. So we have some ripping left to do. We're supposed to be able to finish up this plowing, get our planting completed before the end of spring. Turn on some lights here. So we're probably gonna just finish up our ripping, take care of some of our animals, might rake up some of our grass we mowed. Now with soil mod or seasons, I know there's some scripting in there that deals with windrows, so I'm not sure if we can actually leave our mowed hay on the ground and it will dry out, or if we still have to ted it to turn it into hay. I didn't look into the actual scripting that much to confirm that. Probably try to hire out this worker. See how that goes. This field isn't the greatest for hard working. Maybe Courseplay would be a little bit better to use. So, Giants released their new Big Butt DLC pictures. I think it's like $14 or $15. But it's really more, I would say, non-European equipment. It could be Canadian or American, Australian, whatever you want to say, but has large Great Plains planter, large air seeders, more tillage, big ass manure spreader. Obviously, you have big butt tractors, which is kind of like probably the least desired piece out of the whole pack. But I'm curious if that large seed hog drill. I mean, it looks like it has more than 6 components. So if it has more than 6 components, it should have less than 10 wheels based on the current physics restrictions, but I'm sure it's all locked, so we won't be able to really actually see how many wheels and components it actually has. But that's supposed to be 24 meters. I'm surprised they didn't release a larger Great Plains drill as well. But I know Polygonish made one, so might buy that and in-game that, take care of my drill needs. So if we bring up our display, see if it gave us anything. Oh, if you look at the bottom, it says 29.9 engine hours or 17 days until maintenance is required. That's part of the Seasons mod. You have to do vehicle maintenance. During the winter and stuff, the field is frozen, so it doesn't allow you to do any tillage or anything like that. And then the yields of crops goes down too, depending on what season you're in. And the production of animals, like how much they eat versus how much they like milk or wool, how much they produce, that also is dependent on the season. Same with like manure production and stuff like that. I believe the economy is also affected. One of my suggestions to the creators of that mod is maybe during like the off season, like have more great demands for a crop than during the harvest season. During harvest, you'd expect everyone to be, there's such a great demand, or surplus of crops that prices may not be as high. It also gives you the ability to adjust worker rates, hourly wages, same with overtime, and then you can adjust overtime hours when the overtime price is factored in. So the default game is like $2,000 an hour. So I bumped the worker wage down to $20 an hour, and then overtime is 35, time and a half. So change that to 35 an hour if you have a hired worker. I'm not sure if that would override, say like a course play or follow me mod. Because both of those mods aren't part of the Seasons mod, but they have hired worker wage lines in the LUA. So I'd be curious if they are would be overridden by the Seasons mod, because I think the Seasons mod's a little bit more, has a little bit more oversight. Anyways, this is our first season farming. Obviously this is going to be the first time this field's been plowed or ripped, so we'll get the extra benefit of whatever it is, the 10 or 15% bonus for plowing. We have no straw, so we're gonna have to plant one of our fields, or we're gonna have to lease a field and maybe plant some wheat or barley in it, so we have some straw. Nice to see some people are watching the stream. So let's see who's all in here. We got Tone Statement, Billy Horton, Matt Ryan, King J, and Boone Reed so far in the chat that I can see. Watching me plow this field. And another neat thing about the Seasons mod is based on your seasons, it actually changes the diffuse texture on the trees, the foliage. So like during winter, the trees that are annuals, or whatever, like the non-pine trees, their foliage disappears, and then the pine trees obviously they keep their foliage. And then during winter, it actually, if it snows and it's like freezing, the snow accumulates, and it's like an extra layer made possible by the tip collision layer. And if you have like plows and buckets, you could actually plow snow and move it, and it actually melts. If you leave it in your bucket, it will actually eventually melt. So that's pretty cool. And then if you have like your grass piles or hay piles sitting outside and you don't have it baled or covered, it actually kind of like reduces your level. I'm assuming to simulate like a rot factor for it being wet. Now, it says it's early spring. The ground temperature looks like it's 0 degrees Celsius. So it's pretty cold out. Technically, the ground should be maybe frozen. I'm not quite sure, but we're able to plow. It'd be kind of interesting if, with the Seasons mod, if they kind of reduced the friction coefficients so you had more slippage. during the early spring, because you'd expect it to be wet, right? But it doesn't seem to be affecting us too much. Anyways, I've been pretty busy the last couple months, and that's gonna probably stay pretty busy for the next couple months. I'm gonna try to do at least a video a week for you guys. I think that's pretty reasonable. Just that this game gets pretty boring sometimes, and you need to take a break from it and focus on other things for a bit. But once you take a pretty decent break from the game, it becomes, I would say, a little bit fun again. There's still a lot of things I don't like about this game, but I don't know, maybe in the upcoming weeks we'll be able to get a beta or open beta playability of cattle and crops, so that might take away some of the FS time. I think we're going to work our way back, and then we'll finish out this other section of the field. This Seasons mod also kind of similar to the Real Daylight mod that Sirius released. The Seasons kind of incorporates that. Um, they both kind of mess with the curve. The way they do the sun setting, it's based on a curve, a parabolic equation, and they just kind of have different slopes, but they pretty much do the same thing. But the Seasons mod has it inside the mod, so you don't actually need a separate script for it. I believe that was around since 2000 or FS11 maybe. Something like that. Someone's asking if I always play on PC, and obviously yes. This game is so much more personalizable and so much more open than on a closed console. I haven't used my I had a 360 somewhere, but I don't think I've used it in probably 8 years, so I couldn't tell you where it is. It's probably thrown away at this point. I just don't see any benefit to consoles. Maybe for like Grand Theft Auto and Halo, but that's definitely not this kind of game. You're doing yourself a great disservice by playing this game on any kind of console. It kind of bothers me that Giants has expanded the consoles, because instead of focusing on PC, now they're trying to please, 3 different platforms, and all 3 platforms suffer because of that, instead of one platform being focused on and taken care of. So instead of having one happy customer base, now they have pretty much 3 unhappy customer bases. But whatever, I'm sure they're making a tremendous amount of money to not really care. But with the PC, if you're unhappy with something, you have the ability to pretty much change it. You can make any kind of equipment you really want. You can make a map you want. You can really, it's very open, very sandbox-like, where consoles, they don't really have that ability unless you were to make something for PC and then upload it through Giants. But in order to do that, it needs to be approved by both Sony and Microsoft, I believe, and then it also needs to fall under their license. So, where if you have a PC, you can do whatever you want. But if I was the CEO or it was my company, I probably wouldn't really pay that much attention to it, because basically if people keep buying it and you have no competition, there's really no motivation to change, which is why a lot of those of us who take this game more seriously, invest a significant part of their free time into it, are very curious to see and happy to see that cattle and crops is actually a thing and it's happening. And those who made FS so great are actually they're the ones that are actually developing this new game. So. They obviously won't take market share away from the console, but I think they might take a pretty sizable chunk of the PC market. But that's just me speculating and wishful thinking, really. Because that is a European. It's I believe it's German based. So. But it's built off, it's modeled, all the equipment is modeled in Blender, and it's built with Blender in mind, not Maya like Giants. Whether that's good or bad, I don't think it's either. But I think majority of people that mod for this game use Blender because it's, one, it's free, two, it's easy to learn, three, there's thousands and thousands of videos on YouTube to help you with whatever possible problem you can have. And you could also get Maya if you have a student email. You can get a student version, or you can buy it, but it's obviously very expensive. And I've tried Maya. I own it. It's literally like 180 degrees different. Like the user interface, the hotkeys, the control keys, how you navigate. It's the complete inverse. It's completely opposite of Blender. So it's really difficult when you learn one to switch and be proficient at the other. So that kind of turned me off to trying to invest more time into Maya. If I had to do it all over again, I probably definitely would have tried to learn on Maya, because a lot of features in Giants are used, like animations, flexing hoses. That's all part of Maya. That's actually when you do the animations and the hoses like that. That is actually, when you export it, that's actually exported into GE, and it's exported into the geometry data. So when you do the same thing with Blender, that it's the two softwares can't communicate between the two different languages. So that's pretty much the only benefit right now of using Maya over Blender. Otherwise, I think Blender's just as good. I mean, the way it bakes textures, if you're using Blender render, it's pretty basic. A lot of people that do like static scenery, they use cycles render, but you have to place your light sources. And it's really confusing and extremely difficult to do well. But it's obviously for static map objects. Anyways, so the next couple months, I imagine we'll get a chance to play on some form of beta version of Cattle and Crops to see how that is. I know they crushed their kickstarting campaign just because there's so many people that are so sick of Giants. I mean, it's called Farming Simulator, but really there's very little simulation of actual farming with the game. And I think that ticks off a lot of people. I mean, it's great. It's a great simulator to like drive equipment, but as far as realistic simulation of farming, it isn't really. I've heard rumors, and I've seen, I guess I would say confirmed photo evidence of Klaus being in talks with Giants. I believe that was during like one of the European egg shows that they mentioned something about that. They're in talks. So that's pretty cool. Be nice to have some in-game Lexions and some Jaguars. So this is 8245, yeah. 8245 John Deere. We're pulling a 9-shank 2100 medium vertical tillage ripper. We're averaging probably 5 miles an hour with this thing, which is pretty reasonable. I expect we need a little bit more horsepower, but again, not much of an actual simulator. Someone's asking if they should get another combine for FS. They already have 2. Well, the question is, do you need one or do you want one? Can you afford one? If you can afford one, sure, why not? "17 days. I wonder how they figure that out. 29.5 engine hours or 17 days. Is that assuming that we don't put that many hours per day on this tractor? Math on that is kind of off. finish this up, and then we'll go to that smaller section. And then we have 35. We had to put down some fertilizer on 35 and 24. So we might try to put some manure down. I like the how the map is like interactive. Especially when you bring it up. Right here you can like zoom in and... Alright, so we should really... This is a cool field. I'm not sure how the field boundaries work with 22 and 25. This is a really large field. We'll probably end up leasing 23 while we're at it. This could be like a hay field or something. I'm actually going to take a break from ripping for a bit. I'm going to see if we can put manure down on that one field that we chopped last time. Drive over here, and that way when we start ripping again we can do it non-stop. Hopefully this tractor can handle this manure spreader. I'm gonna bump it to like 13. We'll see. Like, doesn't even have enough power to pull it. To find out where I parked my front end loader. Someone was asking me if I made bale forks, and yeah, I've made 3 sets of Frontier bale forks for my 6R. So this thing needs a wash terribly. And I parked the wheel loader. Yeah, here it is. Should be able to fill up our spreader no problem with this guy. So what's our manure spreader at? 100%. This tractor's probably like, you want me to do what? The nice thing about this large manure spreader is you can actually go a fair amount, pretty decent distance on a full load. So, I'd imagine this is probably the least favorite job to do on the farm. putting down copious amounts of poop. Actually, I would say the worst job would be, I've seen pictures of people loading manure in skid loaders, and the skid loaders don't even have an enclosed cab. like that has to be the worst. Stuff is coming out so thick it almost looks like it's liquid. Take back what I said. I've been around enough farms and barns, and I mean it smells a little bit, but nothing like chicken manure. Chicken is the worst. You can smell that for miles. So I'd say that's probably the worst compared to regular cow manure. Set up our GPS now. Should have close to enough manure to finish the job. think one more bucket. We should be getting close. Still never understood this whole rocking when it's hooked to trailers. Never understand what Giants was thinking with that. Doesn't make any sense to me. Alright, so now we gotta use our GPS again, be a little bit more efficient with our manure. Less wasteful. I don't remember the last time I put down so much manure on the field. I think I used quite a bit of liquid when I was doing beef in 15. Never really did a whole lot with salt. Down to the other end here. decent crowd watching now, 70 people. What time is it? Oh, it's like 7:15. Yeah, so we should have enough to finish this field easy. And then not sure about this field in front of us and to our right. What we're gonna do with that? We have fertilizer in our DN spreader, so we might broadcast some dry fertilizer. I don't think we'll have enough. And then we'll probably lease that field 23. That'd be good for that. Now there is a mod that allows you to adjust the working width for like spreaders and stuff, and it adjusts the usage too. So I'm not sure if I have that installed or not, but for like narrow strips where you don't want to, let's say you have an implement that spreads 20 meters, but you only have like a 5-meter gap that you need to fill. There's a mod that allows you to adjust, shoring up your working width, so you don't use, you don't waste half of your product. Which is actually a very practical mod to have, especially in areas that, like, when I come back, it's going to be super narrow. I'm not sure if I have it installed or not. Spreader work with, yep. So I should be able to adjust it somehow. Okay, so I'm pressing left shift in my number pad. I can oh wow, I can increase this a lot, up to 24, and decrease it down to 12. Interesting. My GPS is at 13.8. So that's a pretty cool little mod on Giant's website. Allows you to adjust your spreader, and it also reduces or increases the usage as you change your working. And it does it for sprayers too, so. Yeah, we're at. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to take a break, end the video here, so thanks for watching.